I
Mhm.
will admit, when I first stepped on set, I was a little bit intimidated.
Congratulations on the show. It is so much fun, so exciting. Portia, what was it like having Jamie Foxx as a boss and a co-star?
Ooh, as a boss and a co-star, it was easy breezy. I think as a boss, it's professional. You have to understand he's your boss, he knows what he wants, and you have to deliver. And then as a friend, of course, you're like, this is my friend, and I'm learning from him and watching him work, and he's giving you pointers. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now he's playing my brother, on this show too. So it's a lot that you're thinking of. But knowing Jamie so long and having an older brother that's exactly his age, I grew up in a household having that brother who was 17 years older than I was. And it was
Mhm.
like, okay, my brother would embarrass me. He'd get on the phone and say things to my friends, that were calling just to say hi to me. And I would be just as embarrassed as some of the scenes that you're going to see that happened in real life with him and kyla-drew on this show happened to me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you cannot do that. As the auntie, I'm saying you can't do that, but then I'm also embarrassing. So it's all over the place in the best way, because this is how a family works. Like, you don't always get it right. And they've done a great job by really making that dynamic so
Mhm.
relatable to everyone.
What kind of pointers did Jamie Foxx give you when you signed up for this role?
He gave me a lot of pointers, life lessons, acting lessons. I learned so much, and it's the best education anyone could ever give me.
Yeah. What would you say was the best piece of advice that he gave you?
The best piece of advice was probably just to hold my own. I
Mhm.
will admit, when I first stepped on set, I was a little bit intimidated. I was with two comedic legends,
Mhm.
and I thought of it as Jamie Foxx, the Academy Award winner, Ray, Dreamgirls, Django. I was a little bit starstruck, and so I needed to overcome that and look at him as more so my co-star. We're
Mhm.
working together. We're on the same level in a sense, and he taught me a lot about that and was like, girl, you're funny too, you're good too.
How much fun was it for you to team up with Jamie once again after what, 20 years?
30, 30.
30.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Jamie and I, we always would see each other, usually around Oscar time, award season. We're out there going to parties and stuff. It
Mhm.
was always the same. This man, call me. Yeah, I'm gonna call you, man. Let's work. Okay. So I finally get the call like a year ago. I was on Broadway performing in the revival of Soldier's Play.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, yeah, this is it, man. Like, we're gonna play like grizzled prisoners, and we're gonna break out. It's gonna be a hard, dramatic role.
Mhm.
Shape. And he said, oh, I'm gonna do the sitcom. And I went, what? I was surprised. Because I feel like, Jamie, you're at a point you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, why do you want to do a sitcom? And he was like, because, man, I want to show these young folks how it's supposed to be done. This is what we did. This is how people discovered us.
Mhm.
And his enthusiasm was so great. That's all I really needed to hear. And I said, are you going to do the show, Jamie? Like, do the show. You going to be there every week? He said, yeah. As I heard that, I was in.
Yeah, you're like, sign me up.
Yes, and it has in fact been that. And not only just being there, but he told me the first day, he said, David, you can say whatever you want. Well, everybody says that. That's like in a relationship when I say, you can tell me the truth.
Right.
You like me, or just like me? Every day for the first week, at the end of the day, he said he would catch me or I'll get a text. David, you can say whatever you want.
Love that.
And it started little by little. And I said, well, here we go. We're going to open the floodgates. And he encouraged, he pushed, he prodded, and we push each other. We prod each other in a good, healthy way. And it has been a blast.
Jonathan, who would you say is most like their character?
Who's most like their character?
Ooh,
Yeah.
good question.
Yeah, that is a really good question.
Wow, that's a good one.
Uh,
First one today. Nice.
Yeah,
Good, I'm
that's a
glad.
good one. I would have to say Jamie,
Mhm.
because it's based on his life. The house that they designed for the set is based off of his old house. Like when Corinne came on
Mhm.
set the day, who's Jamie's daughter in real life, who kyla-drew's character Sasha is based on, when she saw it, we all got to be there, and she was like, whoa, this really does look like the old house.
Right.
So Jamie is bringing so much real life experience. So like, when in between takes, you know, he goes, this really happened. He goes, and when they're setting up the cameras for the next shot, he goes, what happened was I had this girl thing. And then when Corinne came downstairs, I didn't know that she was home. I mean, he's going through everything.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's really his story.
Right.
And I mean, if Corinne was actually playing the daughter, she would, you know, be sort of in a tie with that. But I do think that it's almost exactly like him. I mean, he's funny,
Truly.
outgoing, he's generous. You know, he's protective, which is something that I think, you know, Portia and I, who have known Jamie for such a long time, love him so much. He really is all of those things. He's looking out for everybody. He's taking care of everybody, and he's silly, and he's always having fun. So the fact that he's getting a chance to showcase this stuff that, you know, most people who know him already know and love about him, I just think is such a cool thing.
100%.
Jamie's daughter.
Yeah.
The actress who plays his daughter. She is that age. She is that character. I mean, and it's fun, you know, it's fun. I like working with different generations because their energy, their point of view, it's all nice, man. It really feeds me as an actor and an artist.
What did Corinne say, you know, playing Jamie's daughter? You know, what kind of things did she warn you about working about her dad?
It wasn't really a warning. It was more so she wanted me to put my own spin on Sasha, and she gave me her number and was like, if I had any questions about anything, wardrobe, dialogue, anything, to text her, call her, and she would help me. And she made it happen. She's such a girl boss, for real, for real.
I love that. That's fantastic. What I love about the show, not only is it funny, but it's also super relatable. Is that something that drew you to this series as well?
Yes, I feel like everyone can relate to being embarrassed by a family member to a certain extent. I know I can. And I think a big part of our show was making it relatable to everyone. And I think that's the beauty in it.
Who would you say is most likely to forget their lines on set?
Ooh, who's most likely to forget their lines? I'd have to say David Alan Greer.
I'm not saying nothing.
Like I would just say,
I'm not saying nothing.
He's not saying a word, right? I'm only saying that because David Allen is such a master when it comes to the art form. He'll say something that's not on the paper, and you're like, oh, that was actually really good. That was really funny. So he's the first to, I think, go off the paper and say something different. And then, of course, Jamie is right there to play along with it. And we all kind of just fall in line. So Jamie has so much love and respect for David Allen. And because they worked together over 20 something years ago, and he takes his hat off to him and says, you were the funniest person on the show, and I was learning from you. So I think it would have to be David, just because he can come up with something that's so brilliant, and we're all kind of playing around that. And he's playing the father on the show, so it's perfect. Yeah. But you know, I think everybody had moments where they forgot lines for sure, and then David would be the first one to make you know that you forgot your line in the funniest way. Like he would do this to Jamie all the time. He'd be like, "Jamie, you forgot your line. Everybody, Jamie, he forgot his line," and you're like, gosh, David.
I love that.
But it was so awesome. Funny. It was a great dynamic.
You gonna put me out there like that? I'm gonna tell you the truth. Then why? Who did they say? Before I say that.
Portia said you, but in a good way. But she said it because you were always like doing improv and stuff like that. So it wasn't really forgetting the lines.
But I don't even, it's never felt, I've been on sets where the dialogue, that has been a major painful development, trying to get through the day with a cast member who cannot remember their lines. No, but I never felt, since now I know I've been outed as the perpetrator, I've never held up anyone's.
No, they said it was in the best way possible because it made the show better. I mean,
you believe me, don't you?
Yes.
I don't want to put him on blast. But Jamie.
Really?
But he makes it's not even forgetting lines or anything like that. It's more so adding another joke and taking it to a whole nother comedic level.
I could totally see that. Like, who is most likely to like burst into song and dance on set? Because I would imagine that it's always so much fun.
Again, Jamie, he has this book bag that's like a beatbox book bag, and he plays music from it. And we would have dance parties in between scenes, in between run-throughs. There was some bops playing.
Well, then I gotta ask, who's the worst dancer then?
Portia and I. are actual like professional dancers. We have backgrounds with competitive dancing and stuff. So definitely not us. But I would say that we're all pretty good dancing. We could stay on beat, got the grooves.
When I was talking to Kyla, she said that, everybody kind of broke down and danced on set and broke out into song. Who would you say was the most likely to burst into song on set, Jonathan?
Jamie or Portia? I mean, when people hear you sing, Portia, I mean, you're unbelievable. And so
thank you.
The fact that we sort of stop, because when somebody's so good that even if we're doing something else, like number one, we are a community, we're a family. So it when somebody would do something like a dance, we would either all join in, or when somebody would sing, we would either listen or we would harmonize or something, because it just felt like such a supportive environment. And I think we've been saying that all day, but we honestly can't say that enough. And I think that a lot of that translates, that love and respect that we have for one another in real life really comes out, whether it's on camera, in between, it sort of fills in the gaps for when the camera's rolling. So it feels like we're not stopping. We're just sort of living our lives, relating to one another, and just caring and supporting the other people around us.
Who had the most embarrassing moment on set, since this is, Dad, stop embarrassing me. So who had the most embarrassing moment?
I don't think anyone had anything that was like, oh, that's gonna stick with me. Like, I don't think it was anything, but fingers crossed for a season 2, and then I'll have that answer for you.
Totally. I'll check back in with you next season.